I'm going to need to break this down in much greater detail in forthcoming videos because it really needs to be exposed. Um, but the trouble is, when you're trying to do something for Formula One social media, people lose interest within a day or two of the actual event. So by Wednesday of this coming week, will have moved on already. Everybody will have forgotten anything that was contentious that happened and is just excited about what's to come, what the next Grand Prix is going to happen, and the next lot of bullshit that is being presented in the press. Okay? It's just the way it is. So therefore, consequently, nothing changes. All these problems that we're seeing time and time and time and time again, they continue to rear their ugly heads. And that's because of corruption. That's because the governing body of the sport does not oversee and administer and rule on this sport in the correct way. It's by design, because these things, it's possible to do the right thing with so many things in this world, with so many things in life. It is possible for things to run as they should, to do things correctly, to make rules for specific reasons, to educate everybody about what they are, have uniform rules that apply to everybody, and have known consequences that get applied to everybody. That way, everybody knows where that they stand with it. There's no arguments, and nobody feels injustice because actually you've done the crime. There's your consequence. There's justice. Okay, we've got nothing to argue about, have we? But actually, they don't want that. Okay, because the more things that go wrong, the more we've got to moan and argue about and fight with each other about, right? Whilst they carry on being what they are, which is corrupt, making money through illegal activity. Okay, now this is what is going on. They're defrauding us through what they're doing, but they're making money out of it. And they're making money out of the conflict that they're inciting by the decisions that they make, the controversy that they cause, the drama that they cause. And they're doing it to us, and they're laughing at us. But this isn't just Formula One, this is everything. Okay, we are all being exploited, but most will not understand what is actually going on. I mean, just a document here from the FIA. You can all do this. You can go onto the FIA website and you can look at the documents from the Chinese Grand Prix. And this is the Scrutineering technical delegates report into what got scrutinised after the Chinese Grand Prix. So only certain cars get scrutinised for certain things, which is utterly ridiculous. For example, men's 100-metre sprint final of the Olympic Games. There's 8 athletes, maybe 10 athletes lined up across the tracks, usually 8, but sometimes they might expand it if there's 10 lanes. I don't know. Let's say there's 8 athletes. Do they test all 8 athletes as to whether or not any of them have taken drugs? Or do they just pick out 2? And if the guy that's won has taken performance enhancing drugs, automatically then go, okay, you're disqualified, and the guy who finished second is now the winner and the Olympic gold medalist in that event. Who's checked him? Who's checked to see if he's taken drugs? Because let's say he wasn't one of the 2 that they just picked out at random. Oh, that doesn't matter. He's the gold medalist. Nobody's checked to see if he's cheated as well. It doesn't matter. We don't check that. What kind of bullshit is that? You've got these arbitrary rules where you disqualify one competitor, but then you don't test the other competitor, and it's fine to give them the win or them the result. Absolute bollocks. Okay? Absolute bollocks. So this is the problem. Unless you have a set of rules and regulations, apply them to all and test for all, then what's the point? Because you can disqualify one competitor And fine, none of us has got all the decent channels on YouTube that I watch their videos. All the decent ones are actually doing it for the right reasons, as opposed to just doing it for clicks and trying to make money and to, I don't know, whatever they're trying to do it for, own their own self bloody promotion. They're all saying the same thing. None of us are objecting to Hamilton being disqualified if that car is illegal. The problem is that we don't know if some of the other cars in that race were illegal as well, because some of the other cars in that race weren't tested. So if they weren't tested, we don't know whether they're illegal or not. But there'll be cars that then, without being tested, will have finished in the top 10, will be getting World Championship points, and we don't know whether them cars were legal or not. How does that work? That's bollocks, right? But this is what the FIA do. It is utterly ridiculous. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport. This is supposed to be the worldwide governance of motorsport. And they could not organise a piss up in a brewery. They are absolutely corrupt, incompetent, but that is by design. You could easily solve that problem, couldn't you? Very easy. All you do is you make sure you test everybody. Why don't they? Oh, that would be too easy, wouldn't it? Too easy. So, if we come down here, and this is something that people are talking about on Twitter, as I've told you, there's some accounts to follow on Twitter. So it's got the cars that are weighed. All 19 finishers were weighed. So Alonso's car, because he retired, wasn't scrutinised. They're the cars, three cars. The following aerodynamic components or bodywork areas were checked on cars numbers 18, 7 and 31. So these checks were only performed on 3 of the 20 people that entered that race. That's ridiculous. So you weigh 19 of them, but then you perform the aero checks on 3 of them. You come up here. These checks were performed on them 12 cars. These checks were performed on these 8 cars. What? We'll check 40% of the cars for this. We'll check 60% of the cars for this. We'll check 100% of the cars. We'll check 3% of the cars, 15% of the cars for this. What a load of bollocks, right? Absolutely. It's just ridiculous. Okay. And then we come down here, and this is the kicker when I get down to it. The skid wear on car numbers 81, 4, 1, 30, 63 and 12 was checked. The skid wear on 81, 4, 1, 30, 63 and 12 was checked. 6 cars out of 20. Where's number 44 in the skid wear checks? And we get to the bottom. Oh, some of the then you've got, oh, these were checked on all cars. This was checked on all cars. This was checked on all cars. This was checked on all cars. Right? And then we come down, oh, the rear brake pressure control was checked on them. Tyre cold pressure was checked on car number 1 and 63. And then, apart from the weights of car numbers 16 and 10, okay, and they were listed in the 19 cars that were weighed, and the skid wear of car number 44, all car weights and items checked were found to be in conformity with the 2025 Formula 1 technical regulations. Now that's ridiculous. 19 cars were weighed, 2 were found to be underweight. Okay, we can accept that. All cars that finished the race were weighed, and 2 were underweight, and you've disqualified them on that ground. Fine. All right. You've listed 6 cars being checked for skid wear One of those 6 was not car number 44, and yet you found car 44 has found that it was not in conformity. Now, clearly you've checked it, but in your document, Joe Bauer, the FIA Formula One technical delegate, can't even produce their official document in the right manner that shows that Hamilton was even checked here. He's not even listed in this document as being checked. Now, that's ridiculous, isn't it? It's not that. We'll come back up here. The skid wear on car numbers 81, 4, 1, 30, 63, and 12 was checked. So 6 cars out of 20 were listed. But that's 30%. They've checked 30% of that 20 car field. They've not listed Hamilton, who failed that check, but he's not listed that they've even checked that on him. But he's listed as having failed it at the bottom of the document. That's a level of professionalism that exists within the FIA, the world's premier governing body for the premier motorsport. That is their level of competence. That is their level of testing. No uniform testing across the board, just picking and choosing, and how much gets missed through that process. How many results could it be whereby cars, drivers have taken World Championship points and their cars could have failed? And yet those cars that were tested and failed were deprived of any points whatsoever. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And what do they do about it? Nothing. You can complain to them. You can send them an email. What will they do? Nothing. They will ignore it. They are doing something that is wrong. They are selling us a product and then they are not conforming with what that product should be. And they are doing nothing about it. There is no regulation. They are not accountable. They claim they're not accountable. They present they've got integrity. Okay, the FIA will present to us that they're an upstanding organisation. Okay, they're against online abuse, as it says there. And if we go here, FIA, this is they've even got their own court. The FIA have even got their own court. Oh, because we've got that much integrity, we even run our own version of law at the FIA. I mean, the Lawn Tennis Association, or whatever the global tennis thing is, they've not even got their own court. Ridiculous, isn't it? Ridiculous. This is the best. Look, understand just what a load of bollocks the FIA actually is. It's just a gaslighting facade of integrity, like so many things in this world, presenting themselves as having, oh, we are the world governing body. We are the people tasked with upholding the rules and regulations of this sport. We will ensure that this sport is administered correctly. It's a snake pit of corruption that they're profiting out of. And again, the same dynamics exist in so many things in this world that affect our lives, that we pay for, that we have to pay for, many of them. There should be rules, there should be regulations, there should be laws, there should be enforcement agencies to make sure these people comply with the rules, the regulations, the laws. There should be regulatory bodies that ensure this takes place, and nothing does. The regulatory bodies are a facade. The law enforcement is a facade. you try and make a complaint, nothing gets done, and you move on. You move on to the next one. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. On to the next one. And then the next thing happens, the shit hits the fan again. There's more controversy, there's more outrage. People are complaining about it. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Don't you worry about it. Nothing you can do about it. We're going to ignore your complaints. We're the ones that tell you how it's going to be. Move on. No. This is why everybody, regardless of who you are a fan of, everybody needs to stand together and say no. Because there'll be people at this moment in time who aren't affected and they're like, okay, I can see that it's going on, but I'm not that bothered about it because it doesn't really affect me. It doesn't impact my enjoyment of it. The person who I like wasn't impacted there. But that's just now. What about if they are? Because back in 2021, Lando Norris wasn't the person that was contesting for a world championship. He wasn't impacted. Well, he was impacted in the fact that he was disadvantaged due to the breaking of the rules, wasn't able to challenge for sixth position in that final Grand Prix. But relatively speaking, the consequence wasn't that grave to him. Fast forward to 2024 when Lando was run off the road twice by Max Verstappen. Oh, now it matters, doesn't it? Now you're starting to feel the injustice because it's happening to you. Your favourite driver, your favourite team. That injustice is happening to you. So now it matters, doesn't it? Doesn't matter when it's happening to somebody else, but as soon as it comes close to you and your existence and something you care about, then it begins to matter. But then it doesn't matter to anybody else, does it? So it's you on your own as the lone voice complaining about it that they're going to ignore. The governing body is going to ignore. The regulatory body is going to ignore. The law enforcement is going to ignore. Media is going to ignore. And we move on to the next one. Don't you worry your little heads. It's fine. And we're going to carry on fucking you at this one as well. Keep buying it. Don't you worry your little heads. Don't you worry your little heads. It's going to be how we want it to be. Nothing you can do about it. And think about this. This isn't just Formula One. I've said this from the start. From the moment I began campaigning and making videos, this is far greater than Formula One. The dynamics that are existing in this world are that there should be rules, regulations that apply across the board to every single one of us. That we're all bound by, and that is what is required for a harmonious, functioning global society. And it isn't happening. And the reason it's not happening is due to corruption, due to people wanting to profit for their own benefit. And people who have found themselves in these positions of power are able to manipulate things, act corruptly, buy off the required people to perform their roles corruptly to enable the corruption. Hence we have billionaires, the super wealthy, controlling societies, controlling how life is for each and every one of us, because the fundamental principles of what is right in this world are being destroyed by them to enable them and their agendas. And those who should be there to uphold the rules, the laws, to prevent corruption of that nature, to prevent the takeover by tyrants and people who are corrupt and are just going to do this for their own benefit, they're not doing it. They've all been bought off. And what does that leave us with? That leaves us with where the world is going. No, already I've gone on far too long in this video. I intended this video, believe it or not, to be something completely different. I intended this video to be venturing into this situation here, which was the although it's Sonoda there on the graphic, it's Hajar having to get out the way of Jack Doohan. Look at who won the race to the apex. We'll see about that. I've got to reserve that for another video now because I've already gone on too long. All right. And let's see if they talk about the race to the apex at this incident, because we can remember COTA 2024 when they put Karoon in front of us to talk about who was in front, who won the race to the apex, who was allowed to stay on track and who didn't have to stay on track, and the impact of it. Thank you for your time. Wake up to what's really important here. It's absolutely bullshit that the FIA just tested, well, they've listed 6 cars out of 20. Fine if they're not going to test Alonso's car because he didn't finish anyway. So there's no point in disqualifying a car that retired at that race and finished 20th anyway. So no, I've got no issue with them not testing Alonso's car. So 6 cars they've chosen, or they've listed there as choosing 6 out of the 19 finishers to test. And yet they've disqualified a different car that is not listed as being tested. How can you only test 6 of 19 and leave the other 13 and say, well, you 13 are not going to be disqualified? Well, one of them was. You 12 are not going to be disqualified, but we don't know whether you've broken the rules or not, but we're just not going to disqualify you. Makes no sense, does it? Makes absolutely no sense. And when things don't make sense, then often that is by design, because you can design it differently. It's quite easy to identify problems, identify failures in a system, and take the right measures to fix it. Fix the problems. And then they're fixed, aren't they? But they don't. Why? But they won't answer that. They'll just carry on doing it the way they want it to be done. And look at what's going on. Look at what is going on in all the social media that you follow, in all the Formula One social media. What is happening? The space is buzzing with people talking about the disqualifications, aren't they? And I'm just adding to that. Okay? I don't want to, but I just want to talk about this in a manner that I don't see that many other people talking about, and this is why I feel I need to do it this way. Try and expose what they are. Expose this whole shit show for exactly what it is, and hopefully by people seeing it for exactly what it is, they will then be able to see those same dynamics in every other aspect of our lives that is impacting our lives in a significant manner. Because this is what our lives have become. And we, every single one of us, needs to do something about it. Because unless you are a multimillionaire or a billionaire, you, right, you are like me, right? You are the shit of this world. You're the scum. You're the immigrant. You're the blacks. In their eyes, we're all that. We're all the second-class citizen. We're all the shit of the world, okay? That they are better than. Right? That is what they want us to do. They want us to fight each other. Look at you. You, the whites, are better than them, the blacks. You, the natives, are better than them, the immigrants. You, this denomination of religion, are better than them, the other denomination of the religion. Conflict. They are the ones that are telling us to fight each other. They are the ones that are causing the conflict, right? And they don't give a fuck about any of us. They don't give a fuck about what is right or what is wrong. All they care about is keeping us fighting each other whilst they are perpetrating the crimes that enrich them. So it's time that we realise that dynamic. Look around and realise actually we are not enemies. We shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be looking at what's wrong. What is fundamentally wrong. And if that dynamic does apply to you, how would you feel about it? It would be wrong, wouldn't it? So stand up against what is wrong. Realise that we're all the same. Realise that we're all impacted by this. We're all humans, right? We're all people. Doesn't matter what the colour of our skin is. Doesn't matter the country that we were born in. Doesn't matter our gender. We're all being impacted by this. And in every corner of the world, there's decent people. Decent people with the right values. And every single one of us is being impacted one way or another. But they recruit the turds of mankind to fight us. The Agent Smiths. The Agent Smiths of the Matrix. Where they turn them on us to fight us. To have that conflict. To occupy us with that conflict. So that we don't turn on them. Thank you for your time.